Hi everyone. It is a pleasure for me to be here at Summit at Content Marketing, and thank you for joining my session here. I hope you'll get some great information out of this. What we want to talk about is how to build a web presence that outsmarts, outperforms, and outlasts the search engines. As a digital marketer, kind of grew up in this age. I've been doing this for almost 20 years, where SEOs and digital marketers were always looking at the algorithms from a standpoint of we need to do what the search engines want us to do. And all that does is because the search engines change on a regular basis, all that really does is it makes us kind of follow around the search engines, and we're always trying to keep up with what they're doing. And instead, I want to change our focus a little bit to not looking at the algorithms as what are they doing today, how can we meet or how can we deliver a website that meets their needs, and we want to turn that around to looking at what do we need to do to be in the place where the algorithms will be catching up to us. And that's what you really have to do if you want to outlast, outsmart, and outperform the search engines. You want to build a site that is already in the place where the search engines are going with their algorithms. And that's what we want to talk about today. And hopefully we'll kind of really just expand this whole idea of building that site and building a web presence that goes beyond the algorithms and really delivers on the promise of what every site should be doing for its customers. Now, we have a lot of challenges when it comes to building a website and building up our web presence. Anybody who's been doing this for any amount of time knows that digital marketing is really not easy at all. There's a lot of challenges that we face, and one of those challenges comes from the fact that we are facing a lot of competition. Back in 2010, Eric Schmidt, he told us basically every 2 days we create as much information as we did since the dawn of time to 2003. That is an immense amount of information being built every 2 days. I mean, if you think about every book that was written, everything that was recorded from the dawn of time to 2003, now that's being done every 2 days. And that's being done in so many different formats that what we're looking at is a very, very busy internet. Every 60 seconds, there's an immense amount of information that is being produced, an immense amount of content that is being put out there for us to consume. And that creates competition. There's really nothing we can do to get away from that because of every 2 days, this mass amount of information being put out there. That is the competition that we have while we're trying to get people to look at our content. We're trying to get them to come to our website. All these other people are doing the exact same thing. And there's so much going on that we find that those of us who are using the web, that's us, that's our audience, that's our friends, our neighbors, our family, we have this inherent lack of focus. Which because there's so much to do, there's so much going on. I can give you a great example. I'll pick up my phone and I think I'm gonna type something in here. I have to text somebody, and as soon as I pick up my phone, I see that I have these notifications. Oh, I've got several other texts that came in, or I've got some calls that I have to return. And as I picked up my phone to do one task, I find myself doing several other things before I even get to that, or I might even go, gee, what did I even pick up my phone to begin with? And this is that lack of focus. It's that this overwhelming amount of information that is being presented to us that we often forget what we were doing, or we get sidetracked in what we're doing. And we're very, very distractible. We can set out and do something, but there's so many things going on that will distract us. I sit down to watch a TV show and I'll see a commercial, or I'll see something going on and I'll go, oh, I want to look that up. I'll pick up my phone, and now I'm not paying attention to the commercial anymore, but I'm looking something up online. Or I'll go to look something up online and I'll be on the website and then I'll see something and I'll get distracted. Maybe it's something in my house, maybe it's the TV distracting me, maybe it's my kids distracting me. But this is what we have to deal with on the internet, where we're going out with a mission and we say, okay, I am going to do this one thing, and then squirrel, something gets in our way, something distracts us. And basically, we're all online just fighting for attention. We're trying to get the attention of our audience. We're saying, hey, you know what? Come here, come here, come here. And somebody else is out there, another business is out there, or another content producer, and they're doing the same thing. They're saying, no, 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 come over here, come over here. So when it comes to getting people's attention, we're all kind of at odds in a sense. We're all trying to get people to come over to us, to pay attention to what we're doing. I mean, that after all is, if we're selling something online, whether it's a product or a service, first we have to get somebody's attention, right? And then we need them to come, and then we got to keep their attention. And it's just this constant struggle that we have online to get and to keep somebody's attention. And then we're looking at, well, how, we got to appease Google because that's our way to get attention. We have to get those top search engine rankings, right? Well, that's the wrong way of looking at it, because getting top search engine rankings, that's not what we're trying to do to get attention. That is the reward we get for winning the battle of getting people's attention. That's the reward that we get for doing digital marketing right. And that is a whole kind of a new paradigm shift in how we need to look at digital marketing, where we can't look at it as, I need to go out and get those search engine rankings so I can get the exposure and get the traffic and get the sales, yada, yada, yada. It's instead is, if we are doing all the things that we need to do right with digital marketing, if we're meeting our audience's needs properly in digital marketing, if we're giving our audience what they want and what they need, then the rankings will come, because that's just Google handing us the trophy. That's Google saying, hey, you have done a good job. We're going to reward that with rankings. We're not getting the rankings so we can get the other stuff. Have to do the other stuff so we can get those search engine rankings, get that exposure. And that means we need more than an ordinary website. It's very easy to produce an ordinary website. WordPress, great platform. You can go to WordPress, set up a site, buy a template, boom, you've got a website out there. But is there anything special about it? What are you doing to take that template or that WordPress site, and what are you doing to turn it into something better? To turn it into something that's not just ordinary. We can look at this picture in front of us and say, you know what? I probably wouldn't want to go there. It's not my cup of tea, not what I want to do. But, what do we have to do to turn this into something that does attract people? Well, we have to build that extraordinary web presence. We have to build that site that goes from this to this, that becomes that location. It becomes that destination. It becomes that idea in somebody's head that says, that is where I want to go when they're looking for whatever it is that you sell or whatever it is that you provide. You want to build that web presence, not just the website, but the entire web presence. All of this goes hand in hand. It's no longer just about going, hey, I'm going to build this website and people are going to come to it. Your whole web presence revolves around building up and doing something spectacular, doing something that people really need, and becoming that extraordinary place. Your Twitter feed needs to be extraordinary. Your website needs to be extraordinary. Your customer service needs to be extraordinary. How you answer the phone needs to be extraordinary. So you have to really go out of your way to everything that you do online, everything that you do, every email that you send, every communication that you have, you need to make that extraordinary. So let's talk about that. How do we be extraordinary? How do we build a web presence, build a website that really gets us to that place where we are doing something different, where we're doing something unique. Well, back in 1998, getting the attention of the search engines, it wasn't that hard. Keywords and links. Everything came down to that. If you put keywords on your website and you went and you got links, you could get some good rankings in Google. Now, before Google, it was just keywords. All you had to do is put keywords on the page and you were almost guaranteed to rank well. Well, Google came along, they changed things. They said, you know what, we need to look at more than just what's on the page because that's kind of gaming the system. So we're going to look at other people linking to the site and we're going to factor that in. So back then when Google started in 98, keywords and links what mattered. Now today we have an entirely different algorithm where keywords and links, they still matter. But now Google's looking at other things. It's looking at the architecture of your website. You know, how accessible is the website to your visitors? How accessible is it to the engines? Obviously, it has to be accessible. You know, are there elements in there that are roadblocks or stumbling blocks? There are points where people are getting stopped up. You know, if the site is too slow, if there's things that just aren't loading on the site and it's not giving that, you know, giving visitors what they came for, these things matter now. Social media and content. Content is, you know, one of the three highest priority things or most important things to the algorithm, content and links. And social media is an avenue of getting the content and getting it out there and getting noticed. So the search engines are looking at these things. Your uniqueness and value on your website. And we talked about being extraordinary. You have to be unique. You have to provide a site of value. So search engines are figuring out, how do we factor in uniqueness and value? Usability, conversions, these things matter. How usable is your site when somebody lands on there? Are they able to find the information? Are they able to move through the conversion process and complete their goal? All of these things now are becoming more and more important in getting where you want to be with the search engine exposure. So, you know, being extraordinary in the past, all we had to do was find loopholes in the algorithm and exploit them. But that's not what being extraordinary means. And I said extraordinary in the past means that, and it didn't. That was our version of being extraordinary. That was the SEO's version of trying to do something different, which was gaming the system. But that's not what truly being extraordinary means. It doesn't mean looking for the loopholes. It doesn't mean looking for those opportunities that, well, this is going to work now. It may not work tomorrow, so let's take advantage of it now while we can. That's not what being extraordinary means. Being extraordinary means creating a web presence that people love. And in a nutshell, that is it right there. It's creating a web presence that people love. Everything that you do needs to be geared towards your audience. Forget the search engines. Don't worry about the search engines. They're important. I get that. You know, people search Google, they search other search engines, but we're not doing this for the search engines. We're doing this for our visitors. We're doing this for our customers. We're doing this for our audience. So we have to get out of this mindset that anything that we're doing, we're trying to achieve it for some algorithmic purpose. But we want to understand more than anything, it's people that matter. Because those are the ones that not only are going to find our site, but they're going to keep coming back. They're the ones that are going to give us word of mouth and tell people on their social platforms about our website. They're the ones that are going to be buying the product. The search engines will never buy the product. So we have to first and foremost meet people's needs. And, you know, we have to provide something that they can't get anywhere else. And Seth Godin wrote a book years ago about the purple cow. And it's just a way of saying, look, you've got to have that purple cow. Your web presence needs to be the purple cow. And what is that? It's just something that people cannot get anywhere else. That's all it is. So what are you doing online? And, you know, we're not talking about going, well, gee, I sell this product and somebody else sells this product, so that means I need to find a different product to sell. That's not what we're talking about. Because inevitably, you're going to have competition online. There is going to be 2, 10, 100 other websites out there that are doing and selling the exact same thing you are. But that's not what we're talking about when we say provide something that they can't get anywhere else. It comes down to your content. It comes down to your visuals on your site. It comes down to your service. It comes down to the value that you add to your website, to your web presence. And that's what we have to focus on. We have to focus on that value. We have to focus on giving them something so unique that they're going to keep coming back for that because they're not getting it anywhere else. So let's talk about being unique. We're not just talking about doing the same thing over and over and over again. We're talking about looking for an opportunity to do something new or do something old in a new way, something that makes us stand out. That's what being unique is. It's just standing out. It doesn't mean you're no longer a person. If you're a unique person, you're still a person, but you stand out. You're doing something different. And that's what we want to do with our websites. One of the things we don't want to do is try to be all things to all people. And Pontiac is a great example of this. I mean, we look at some of these brand names, Trans Am, GTO, Fiero. These are all, bring up images in our minds of these great muscle cars or these great sports cars. And that's what Pontiac was for so many years. They were this maker of these incredible, just gutsy cars. And people wanted them. They said, I wanted to get a Pontiac. It's a Trans Am, it's a Fiero, it's a GTO. There was something behind that name, that Pontiac, that people wanted. But then Pontiac tried to do a little bit too much. They said, hey, look, we've got this muscle car audience, we've got this sports car audience, but maybe we can get a bigger audience. Maybe we can expand and reach out and get more people. So they started producing some of these type of cars. And these sedans and minivans, they say, look, let's get this soccer mom audience, and let's get this professional man audience. And they started producing these cars, and then what happened? Today Pontiac is nowhere to be found because they tried to be too much. They tried to be all things to all people, and by reaching out and basically blurring the lines of their uniqueness. Oh, sure, they still had their muscle cars, but they just kind of blurred the lines where the brand no longer represented anything. And it just became any other car company. There was nothing special anymore about owning a Pontiac. And because of that, they're gone. They're dead. And you want to make sure you're not trying to do too much. You don't want to be all things. There's very, very few companies that survive being all things to all people. You want to find that. You want to find that audience that really is going to latch on to what you offer, and you want to speak to them. Shark Tank is a great example. One of my favorite shows. Love watching this with my kids because I want to give them that entrepreneur mind and entrepreneur spirit. And really, the show is nothing more than people who have found a problem and they look for a way to solve it. That's all it is. People come on, they say, look, there was this problem and I solved it. And they go on the show and they pitch their idea with the sharks, and they try and get the sharks to come on board and invest in their companies. And there's been a lot of great products that have come out of Shark Tank. And they have gone into stores, Bed Bath & Beyond and Home Depot and Walmart even, and they have performed exceedingly well just because it's a very simple idea that, there was a problem and it got solved. Who would have thought that a toilet seat for cats was going to work? But somebody did. They said, I'm sick of cleaning out this litter box. My problem is this stupid, smelly litter box. So they created a product that would get cats to go to the bathroom in the toilet. Now, if they could teach them to flush, that'd be a whole other thing. But the product did fantastically well. All of these products you see on the screen, all of them have done extremely well because there was a problem and somebody said, I'm going to find a way to solve that problem. Next thing you have to do is find a void and fill it. Taco Bell did that with their waffle taco. There was a void. Anybody could go to McDonald's or Burger King and get the same old breakfast sandwich. It's the same thing. It's the bread, okay, we got this, it's a muffin, or it's a biscuit, or it's just a different twist. Well, Taco Bell said, you know what, we're a taco joint. People don't eat tacos for breakfast, but there's this whole void of being able to provide breakfast for our audience, the people who love us. And they came up with a waffle taco, and I think it's brilliant. I absolutely loved it. There's a waffle. I love waffles. Sausage, hey, I'm in. Eggs, got it. Throw a little, syrup on there, you got a winner. So, this is some great out of the box thinking. And unfortunately, Taco Bell doesn't offer this anymore, but they still have breakfast, and they have done some other things to expand their breakfast menu. And this was their entry point. This was their way in to provide breakfast for people who were looking for something beyond the typical what you can get at McDonald's. And, kudos to Taco Bell for doing that. And that's what we need to do. We need to go, where is a void? Where is there an opening? Where is there an opportunity for your business to do something that nobody else is doing, or to do it in a way that nobody else is doing? You want to find that void. And then you want to find a want and deliver it. And Prego did that. Years ago, Ragu was the number one spaghetti sauce. They held the market. They dominated it. And Prego, struggling at number 2, says, what do we have to do to take back or get some more market share? What do we have to do to build our audience? So they did a survey and wanted to find out what people want in a spaghetti sauce. I mean, hey, no brainer there. You've been doing spaghetti sauce for years and years and years, and somebody gets this bright idea to actually ask the consumer, to ask the people who buy the product, what do you want? And they found out that there was 3 classes of people, 3 different needs. A third of the people, they wanted what they were already getting. They were just fine with getting the regular spaghetti sauce. So nothing, don't need to do anything there. But then there was another third of people who wanted something a little spicier than what they were getting. Okay, well, there's an opportunity. And they found another third of people, they wanted chunky sauce. Okay, so now we have 2 opportunities. They're already meeting the need for a third of the people who want regular sauce. Ragu's got the market cornered, but now Prego sees an opportunity. They see something that people want, and they look at that and go, okay, we're now going to go out and we're going to create this spicy sauce. We're going to create this chunky sauce. And with that, they ended up taking over the number 1 spot for spaghetti sauce. Why? Because they found a want. They went out and found what people were looking for that they weren't already getting. And they said, okay, we are going to deliver that. And that's what we need to do as business owners, as hobbyists, even whatever it is that you're doing online that you're trying to get attention for. You've got to find that want, and you've got to find that way to be unique, to do something differently, or to do what you're doing in a new way. All right, so let's move on from here and talk about finding your voice, because that is something that's very critical and very important for every website. For every business, for everybody doing anything online, is finding that voice, what it is that makes you unique in how you deliver your content. It's not just about the way you deliver your products or your services, but it really comes down to the content itself and finding that place where you go, hey, this is who I am. And I want people to know by the sound of my voice who you are. And we see a lot of companies doing things differently with their voice. Not everything's so corporate anymore. And there's a lot of different voices out there and a lot of different ways you can find that unique voice for you, that you don't have to just do it the way everybody else is doing it. So think about your business right now. What voice are you using? Are you just the typical business voice? Or is there an opportunity for you to expand from that? Maybe be humorous or whimsical, maybe you need to stay serious. If you're in the banking industry or if you're in the financial industry, serious is probably the only way that's going to work for you. But other industries, they can do something a little bit different. You can be down to earth, you can be thoughtful, you can be flowery, or just brutally honest. All of these are opportunities for you to say, you know what, look at this and go, what can I do? Who can you be? Who do you want to be? Who's your audience? And that's really what you need to think about, is who is your audience and what are they going to want, or what are they going to appreciate, or what's going to resonate best with them? What kind of voice is really going to speak to them the most? And I've got some examples here. And the first time I wrote about this and, all of these different voices, I was met with some skepticism. People say, you know what, you can't write content in all these different ways. And I called BS on that, because I said, yes, you can. You can take a typical piece of content and you can write it and you can make it all of these things. And so, if you want to sit down and pause the presentation for a second and take this challenge, I encourage you to do that. Typical piece of content for a website that sells batteries. We offer a wide selection of long-lasting batteries designed to deliver enough power to start any vehicle in any weather condition. Batteries you can try to be humorous. Could you rewrite it if you want to be humorous? Well, let's look. Our car batteries are durable, long-lasting, and deliver enough power to start any vehicle in the harshest winter environment. Your escape from the in-laws is guaranteed every season of the year. That does the job, right? It throws a little humor in there. It says the same thing as the main content, but it speaks in a way that somebody might go, you know what, I get it. I want that escape from my in-laws. I want to be assured that my car is going to start no matter when I want it to start. So, one example. What about snarky? Can we write something snarky about car batteries? Well, let's take a look. When headed to the in-laws, you want to be equipped with one of the most powerful car batteries money can buy. Come hell or high water, you're getting out of there alive. Again, you throw in that snark. You're taking that content and you're just twisting it in a way that speaks to a different audience, or it speaks to them differently, or it reaches them just in a slightly different way. What about being brutally honest? Your boss is a jerk, your wife a nag, and your friends are idiots. You need an escape. Where you go is up to you. How you get there is up to us. Our car batteries restart any vehicle, anytime, anywhere. We're ready to go when you are. Now that's brutally honest, right? You got to get out of there. And we've got the battery to do it. Now, I can write this over and over and over again in every voice that I had laid out a few slides ago. Every one of those has a way of sounding that you can take any piece of content and you can write it. So it's up to you to decide, who do you want to be? What is the voice that you want? And once you figure that out, then you just start writing your content. And you make sure it fills that voice. You make sure everything that you produce within that range of this is who I am. Everything you write fits within that mold. And you doing that from page to page to page of your site. And some of you, maybe you can only do it on your blog. Maybe you can't do it on your main site. But be consistent on your blog if you're doing that. I try to do that with my blog posts. I always try to put in a little bit of levity. Sometimes I don't quite hit it. But I always just try to be me and try to be who I am and make sure I'm delivering on, it's a promise. It's a promise of what people expect of me when they come to read my content. And that's what you want to do. You want to meet the promise that this is who you are. Be yourself. Be unique. Find that voice. So now let's move on and talk about the greater experience. We've talked about being unique, talked about our voice, but we have this bigger experience with people coming onto the website, and it is an experience. They're there. And what they're doing there, everything that they do while they're on your website or on your Twitter feed or any of your social platforms, you are delivering an experience for them. And you want to make sure that it's a compelling experience. You want to make sure that when they're there, they're, if not enjoying it, like the people on the screen right there, if they can't get that, you want to make sure that they're not having a bad experience. So, you want this. You want people going, yeah, I'm on this website. I've reached my goal. I got what I wanted. I got the information I wanted. I had a seamless shopping experience. I was able to add products to the cart and they stayed in the cart. I messed up on my form and it didn't erase all my information. I didn't have to write it all out again or type it all out again. You want that spectacular experience, because you don't want this. You don't want somebody screaming at your website through the computer. And I know we've all been there, because I've been there. I've been on websites and you get so frustrated with them, you're just yelling and screaming at them. And you don't want your users doing that. So you have to have that usability component. You have to make sure you're meeting their needs. You have to make sure you're doing things well, because you want your visitors to leave happy. So how do we do that? Well, one of the ways is an intuitive navigation. One of the first things I tell all of our clients when they come on board, we usually see the same thing. We usually see a site that has a few navigation options and it says, shop here, or here, click here to see our products, or click here to see our services. And I've never been a fan of that, because I want people to see exactly what we do when they land on our website. I don't want to have them to click somewhere to see what we do. I want them to be able to look at my navigation and see what we do. And that can be a struggle, because what you don't want is to have so much information in your navigation that it overwhelms people. And I'm not a big fan of the mega menus where you click on one of the options and it gives you 800 more. We're not talking about overwhelming people with options, but we're talking about giving them context clues, of showing them what it is that you do, so they can, without looking at anything else, without looking at the content, without reading any paragraph of text, they can land there and they say, okay, yep, this is the site that I want. Worked with a client years ago, and we were working on their navigation specifically, and they sold ski clothes. And we wanted, we said, listen, you've got these set up, and here's your boys section and here's your girls section. And that works when you're in Target or any other clothing store. You have your boys section, your girls section, your men's, your women's. But online, it doesn't necessarily work that way. What we wanted to, what you want people to see is not just, hey, we've got a boys section and we've got a girls section. You want them to see, hey, we've got jackets, we've got gloves, we've got, boots, we've got parkas. That's what you want people to see. That you want them to see the categories of the products that you offer. And then once they go in and say, oh yeah, I'm looking for a jacket, then click on the jackets, and then you can start filtering them down by, okay, I want to buy for a boy or I want to buy for a girl. But you don't want them to come to the website and see boys and girls, because you're not selling boys and girls, are you? Hope not. You want them to come and see what it is that you do offer, and then let them filter by those things later once they dig into the website a little bit. You want to make sure the goals that people are coming to are easy to achieve. And this is critical. What's somebody coming to your website to do? Well, how easy is it for them to do it? How easy is it for them to find the information that they're looking for? How easy is it for them to get that content or find the product or determine whether or not your product is going to meet their needs? That's critical. It's not just about having your products out there, but it's about making sure that they can properly consume the information or see that your product is what's needed. And this is where video is great. Where you could do video that demonstrate your product. We've got a client that started adding videos to their website, and they got people tell them their video sold me. It was a 3-minute video that just kind of went over the product just for a couple minutes. And that's all that people needed, because it was more than just a picture of a product. It was more than just a description of a product. It was somebody demonstrating the product. And that made it easy for that visitor to achieve their goal, to say, yep, that's the product that I want. I'm adding that to my cart and I'm checking out. And that's what you're looking for, is to make things easy for your customers. And then you want to have a clear path to the conversion. You want to make sure that once somebody says, this is what I want to do, this is the thing that I need, you want to keep it simple, keep it easy. Make sure that they can not just add products to the cart, but they can check out very easily. Don't make them jump through 800 hoops. Don't make them sign up for an account. Don't make them, go through all of these other questions. Do you want this product too? Do you want this? Those are options, and you can do those things subtly, but you don't want to force your visitor to have to take a bunch of extra steps. You want to have a very clear path from where the visitor is, wherever they are on the website. Whatever page they're on, there should be a very clear path to get to that goal, to get to that conversion. You need to make it very easy. Don't force them to jump through multiple hoops. Don't force them to visit pages that they don't need to visit. Make it easy, so wherever they are, they can see, this is my next step. And then there's a next step, and boom, we're done. We're through. Don't make your visitors hunt for information. And I talked about mega menus, and here on the screen I've got one. Somebody on this site, you click kids, all of this stuff comes up. All of it. And that is just completely overwhelming to the visitor. They're like, okay, I want to buy a kid. Kidding. They want to buy something for kids. Well, they click on the kids, like, oh, well, what do I want to buy? Is it footwear, clothing, accessories, belts, board shorts, fleece, trainers, bikinis, skirts? I mean, just so much information. You want to present your information to the visitor, and you want to lead them along. You don't want them to reach a page like this or an option like this and just be, this is deer in the headlights. This is hitting going, oh, crap. I don't know what I need. I don't know what I was looking for. Now I have to read through all of these options just to find the next thing. Versus if you led them from the beginning, where you presented your main categories and then let them click on that category and go, okay, now within this category, here are some other options. All right, you click that category, now here are some other options. Show your products along the way, but don't overwhelm them with so much information that they're not going to be able to make a decision. I worked on a site and it had, over 100 links on the homepage. And what we found is there were 2 links on that homepage that got more than a fraction of a percent of clicks. They got like 2% and 3%. Those were the first 2 links on the page. And people were clicking on them because they were overwhelmed with information, so they just clicked on one of those first 2 links. And that's what you don't want, because you don't know that people are going to actually be getting what they want by clicking on one of those first 2 links. And there was no logical reason for those 2 links to stand out for any other reason other than they were the first 2. And so we went to the client and said, look, we gotta fix this. There's just too many options. There's too much going on. People are having to hunt and look too deep just to take a simple step to get closer to what they want. So don't make them hunt. Make your information hard to find. It's okay if they have to do multiple clicks. Now, again, you don't want to hide it. You don't want to have a click on a page and then not be easy to figure out where they go to next. So you want to make sure everything's easy, very easily spelled out, very clear, so they're not hunting for anything along the way. Find things that you can do to delight your visitors. And that's really what all of web marketing comes down to, is how do we delight our visitors? What can you do? And this goes beyond the website itself. This goes beyond your web presence sometimes. This goes just interaction. engagement with your audience. What can you do to make them happy? Can you do something to make your returns more hassle-free? Can you offer shipping that's free? Can you have experts available for them to call and say, "Hey, I've got a question. I don't understand how this works, or I don't know if this product will work." I was looking for headphones a couple months ago, and I saw headphones that I liked, but I didn't know if I liked the tip. And I needed to ask a question. And Amazon's great about that. They allow people to ask questions about products, and I got the answers back that I needed. And it made it possible for me to confidently buy that product, because without it, I just didn't know. I didn't know if I was going to get something that it just wasn't going to be what I wanted. And I got the answer that I needed, and boom, I ended up buying that product. And that was a way to delight delight me as a customer. And that's what Amazon did. And that's what you need to do, is what can you do that makes customers happy? Don't just go, "Hey, come get our product, you'll be happy with our product." Find ways beyond the product, beyond the service, that you can truly delight them and make them go, "Hey, wow, that was a great experience." You also want to build trust, and you do that purely by being excellent. One of the things that I tell people is that you can be light years ahead of many other businesses out there simply by returning phone calls. I was looking for a handyman a few years back. I got on Craigslist. I found 7 different handymen. I emailed them all. Only one got back to me. Only one. And we ended up giving them work for over the course of 3 years. They ended up remodeling our entire house. It was a unique fixer-upper opportunity, I'll say that. But over the course of several years, they were the ones who ended up remodeling the whole thing, room by room. Excuse me. Just as we needed, they came, they did it. They got that work because they were the only one that returned our call. So just doing that, for whatever reason, that is almost going above and beyond, it seems. And that builds trust. If you get a call, you get an email, return it within 24 hours. Don't blow smoke up your customers' behinds. Be honest with them. If there's something that they're doing or something that they're looking at, another product, and there's value to it that yours doesn't have, be honest about it. Don't try and tell them that yours is going to meet all their needs when it's not. Tell them what's true. And oftentimes you'll get this sale just from that, just from saying, "Hey, listen, you know what? Mine doesn't do that, but here's what we can do." And you're just looking for ways to exceed customers' expectations. That's what you want to do. So let's talk about now. We talked about all these things to build that extraordinary website. All these things. We want to be unique. We want to have a unique voice. We want to be excellent in what we do and just please our customers. So let's talk about why that wins. Why extraordinary websites win every time. And they do. They win every time. First of all, it gives Google what it's looking for. And I talked about that at the front of the presentation. We're not just trying to give Google what they want because that's what they say they want. We're giving Google what they want because we're meeting the customer's needs. We're doing something for the customer. And Google will notice that. And they're noticing that we're meeting the customer's needs. They're noticing that we're being excellent in all of these things that we do. And so Google gives us the reward, which is exposure on the search engine, because that gives us the search engine rankings that we want. We may start at the bottom of page 3 or maybe in the hundreds. And as Google sees that we are delivering not to the algorithm, but we're delivering to our customer, to our audience, to our visitor, Google's going to start moving that up. They're going to say, "You know what, you're earning a better place. You're earning a better place. Okay, you're doing things right. We're going to move you up some more." And Google does a lot of testing with their search results. And they'll move sites higher up and look at what the traffic is doing, looking at what people are searching, and then if they're clicking in, or maybe they're clicking back to the search results. They want to see if you are truly providing what people are expecting when they click on your link. And the more you can provide that and the more you can meet their needs, the better off you're going to be and the more exposure you're going to get. And of course, as you get that exposure, you start getting targeted traffic to your website. They start coming to your website, those people, not just any traffic, but the targeted traffic. Not just anybody looking for something in the realm of what you offer, but the people who are more likely to become customers, that are more likely to give you what you are seeking. And, so you want to bring in those visitors and you want to make sure that more of those visitors turn into customers. Because bring in traffic, unless you're just selling ads on your site, bring in traffic doesn't really do any good for anybody. It's just traffic. So we want more than traffic. We want to bring in that targeted traffic, people that will become customers, which means we have to improve our conversion rate. And Google is seeing that if we are improving our conversion rates, then we're going to get rewarded for that. We've got visitors coming to our site. They're finding what they need. And now they say, I want to close the deal here. I want to go ahead and get this product or get this service. And they start moving that direction. And we have that winning website that focuses on the customer. And so we're improving the conversion rate. And that's why we win, because we're doing all of these things that are making the site better. We're doing all of these things that are making our site easier to use. And then as we get more customers and as we please our customers, we're going to get word of mouth. Word of mouth is the single best sales tool ever. Is when somebody has a good experience on your site and they go online and they tell somebody, or they tell their social platform, their social audience. They go online and say, I just had this great experience with this store. I just got this great product. I just got this awesome service. And that word of mouth spreads. And that's awesome. And that's what you want to have. Again, why do extraordinary websites win? Because they're getting all of these things. It multiplies, exponentially. That doing something right, it exponentially turns into something bigger and bigger and bigger. And then you get customer loyalty out of it. And that's what we want, right? What do they say? That it's easier to keep a customer, it costs less to keep a customer than it does to gain a customer? Well, we want that customer loyalty. And building that web presence, building that extraordinary website, that establishes that loyalty that we're looking for, that we don't just get the customer that one time, but we get that customer to come back again and again and again and again. Well, maybe you sell a product or service that's kind of a one-time thing. You don't really get repeat customers. So what good is that of yours? Well, if you're offering information of value, those customers will be consumers of your information, and they will still go back to spreading that word of mouth. They'll go back to telling others about the great content that you have and the experience that they had. They don't have to keep coming back, but you can still offer a reason for them to come back for the content, maybe not for the service or the product, but to keep coming back for the content, come back and be your evangelist. You want that. You want that type of loyalty the customer has. So going back and kind of bringing this all to a close here, this is how we get rankings today. We already talked about that. The algorithm is looking at all of these different things. So this is where we're at today. And I talked about things not in a sense of, hey, we've got to now game the system, because these right here, these things you see on the screen, these are the things that the search engines are looking for. These are the things that they want. So how do we game the system? How do we do these things? Well, it's not about gaming the system. It's about providing that value, because today this is what the search engines are looking for, but tomorrow this is what it's going to be, where everything across the board matters. It matters right now, but not necessarily to the same degree. So we're not looking at going, well, let's focus on what matters now to the degree that it matters now. We're saying let's focus on what matters, period, and do it all to the greatest degree that is possible. Do it all with excellence. Do it all with awesomeness. Put everything you've got into it to really prove yourself and really build that extraordinary website. Because only when you throw everything into it, where you're not just looking at keywords and links, but you're looking at the user experience, looking at the conversions, that uniqueness, that value, you're looking at opportunities for people to want to share and spread word of mouth. When you do all of those things, then you are outsmarting. You're outperforming and you're outlasting not just Google, but every search engine. And that's what this is about. It's about getting so far ahead of those algorithms that Google's trying to catch up to you. Google's looking at your site and saying, this is what we want as a model for our algorithm. This is the type of customer or type of business that we want to highlight in our search results, because they're doing all of these things so well. And so Google is now gaming you for their algorithm rather than you trying to game their algorithm. That's what website that we want. We want to excel, we want to outlast, and we want to be here long past every algorithm change that's coming down between here and the next 20, 30 years. Thank you for your time. This is me. I do web presence optimization. And that means we do SEO, we do content strategy, we do develop websites, develop websites, we do analytics, conversion optimization, all of these things that are designed to help you build that web presence. That's what I do. I've been doing this since 1998 and been around long enough to know. And this is where this presentation comes from, just getting ahead of the algorithms, not being behind it, but getting ahead of that curve. You can follow me on LinkedIn or Twitter. There's my information there. I do like to connect with people, so if you connect with me, just say, hey, I saw your presentation. Love to connect, and we'll see if we can start up a conversation. I did write a book called The Best Damn Web Marketing Checklist, period. And that is available on Amazon, and we are very close to releasing an updated version basically you're looking at 600 plus action points, over 35 checklists for digital marketing to take you everywhere, everything from the very beginning to finding your domain name all the way through the things that we talked about today, building a website with excellence. And my company, polepositionmarketing.com. You can find my website there where we do all of these things. Happy to help. Drop me a line. Let me know what we can do for you. We're in this business to help businesses be excellent and build those websites of such tremendous value. That's what we want to do. So thank you very much. You can go to my website again, polepositionmarketing.com, or download a cheat sheet from the book, free cheat sheet, webmarketingchecklist.com. Go there. Thank you for your time. I hope you found something of value. So go out there and be extraordinary.